Yo, what's popping, guys? We've got Dan from the Sanctum squad who top 8'd his first regional. What did you play?
I played a very fun deck called Runick Control. So you remember the profile that I did with the Runick Sprite that me and Jake made, the top 4 down winning box. Went to this regional. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to play other than knowing I wanted to play Runick. So I chucked this build together probably about 4 or 5 hours before the event. It played a lot of broken cards, and I just did alright with it. Matchups were, I played a lot of Sprite, which is convenient because it's got a really good matchup. I only played 1 tiers, which was a bit annoying because there's a lot of cards that are in this side deck to go counter tier. My only hard loss was to Exo Sister, which is such a hard matchup against this deck anyway. And I lost to Flunder in the last round because I bricked, but I still managed to land top 8, so really happy with that. So just get into the list. So the only main deck monster I played was Inspector Border. I know a lot of the stun variants do tend to run Majesty's Fiend over this, but I played this for a couple of reasons. Reason 1 being I couldn't find any Majesty's Fiends, and reason 2 being I liked the fact that this was normal summonable as well, because there are hands where you don't get to a quick play spell, and sometimes you just kind of need to put something on that adds a little bit more of a threat other than the floodgates. But yeah, just 3 border, not really too much to say. For the Runick lineup, I played 3 Destruction, 3 Flash and Fire, 3 Freezing Curses. I did only play 2 of this in the tournament, but I played 3 going forward, just because it's one that's always live and it can protect your border and things like that. And 3 tip, 2 search as well. I played 3 fountain in the event. I think that was a wrong choice. I think I should have played 2 because this card, while on paper it is absolutely broken, it is a card that doesn't really advance your game state, and it can be a little bit bricky just because you've got so many ways to search it. So I think going forward 2 is definitely the correct ratio. If you're playing like a hybrid build of this, like with Sprite or something like that, I think you only really need to play 1 fountain, to be honest. But yeah, that's it for the Runicks. Other cards, I played Prosperity. Shout out to Adam for lending me these, thank you very much. I did like the idea of Extravagance, but it's tricky with the extra deck because you need to kind of have like at least 3 Hugin and like maybe 1 or 2 of your other ones at all times, but I liked the idea that this just kind of dug you a bit deeper, and because you're not that focused on the fountain draw anymore, it's just good for seeing getting what you need to get to. Like these incredibly fun cards over here. I don't really have a lot to say about these cards, other than you wouldn't rely on this as much as you'd think in a deck like this. Like this is kind of just the icing on the cake more than anything. Like you put up an oppressive board full of like utility stops and things like that, and then they kind of crack it or try and play through it, and you just flip the metaverse of the demise, and they just get angry in it. Not much else to say about that. And then some purple cards. I went for Rivalry and Tikaboo in the main. I know a lot of builds of this playing Rivalry, Tikaboo and Gozen as well. I felt like that was overkill because there are certain decks where one of these is really good against the other. But like you can play a deck where you have say Rivalry and Gozen against something like Flunder, for example. It's not very good. Whereas if you have Rivalry and Tikaboo, at least there's like 1 you can draw. But I think going forward, I don't think I'd change this. I think Rivalry is just a little bit better than Gozen at the moment. So that's it for the main deck. Onto the extra deck. Just 3 of each of the Runicks. Oh, something to mention actually, I left my 3rd Munin at home, so I played a Dweller instead of this because I couldn't find another Munin. But the 3rd one didn't really come up, to be honest, and neither did Dweller. So this one's really good in the sense that it can kind of put a little bit of pressure on your opponent in the battle phase, because it can't be destroyed by card effects, and when it's destroyed by battle, you can pop a card on the field. So if they make an access code or something, and then you go to battle phase and you just activate this, it puts them in a very weird position. The end phase gain 1,000 for this is really good. I was playing against one of the locals boys, and our game 2, this guy managed to get me up to 16,000 life, and it was just got to a point where there was no point in him playing because he just couldn't beat through it. And then this is just your search, protect stuff. Yeah, it's really good. The other extra deck cards, I didn't go into them once at all. These are just hearing weird things that give you tokens, and then these are just utility. I think maybe I play the liner as well, but I went with the dark over the liner just because more decks are putting dark things in the grave that you want to take hold of. But again, I didn't once go into any of these. I
guess you could play Beat Cop though, yeah.
You could play Beat Cop, but I felt like linking off a border and like a, what's it called, Runick monster, just to get a mind protection was a bit overkill. I did debate the idea of Beat Cop though. I don't think it's necessarily a bad shout at all. So as for the side deck, I played 3 Lava Golem just to go in second, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, and 3 Evenly Matched. These are my going second cards. One thing that I was thinking about as well, the new card that searches the Winged Dragon of Ra card is technically kind of a floodgate as well, because it makes every single monster that is summoned, it can't attack on the turn it's summoned. So I think if going forward, I'd like to test that with 3 Sphere modes, or maybe 1 Sphere mode and like 2 Lava Golem. But these are really good, to be honest. I tried to side this in as much as I could, because siding patterns are a little bit weird with this deck. Just because you're siding a lot of cards out, a lot of cards going second, and you're siding in like a few cards going first. But you're always really scared of like anti-spell and things like that, so I tended to side at least one of these in, and then just other going first cards. Goes and match, just a little floodgate. I put in Dark Bribe because, again, I want to stress that I wasn't really prepared for this in terms of the cards that I brought with me to the regional, and I couldn't find any cursed seals, so I thought Dark Bribe's the next best thing. But the fact that it negates trap cards as well, and is just a lot of utility, to be honest, because you don't really care about them drawing cards, because it's not, look, you're just kind of sitting on the floodgates and things a lot of the time, and just being able to negate things like certain trap cards that can pop things, things like the Exorcist trap, even just weird floodgates like or EV and like anti-spell and things like that. Yeah, this card's good. I think I would actually continue to play it over Curse Seal going forward. So yeah, that was the list, guys. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Adam for lending me a few cards and testing with me and stuff. Pretty good friend of the channel. Obviously all the Sanctum boys as well, and Jake for helping me go over a lot of the Runick stuff as well. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe in a bit.